cutting a 10 by 20 jute mat to fit into an 8 by 8 grower tray. That's what we're going to do today. So before we start, I want to say a couple things about the mat. We sell mats in a 10 by 20 size, and that fits perfectly in the what we call our 22 by 11 grower tray. Now, that can be big for some people. In fact, I like this 8 by 8 grower tray because then I can harvest right out of the tray, and when the tray is empty, I can sow another crop, plant another crop. But before we start with that, I want to say a couple things about jute mats. Here's a jute mat that I bought on the internet, and it's held together with adhesives. First of all, it's hard as cardboard, and it's held together with adhesives, and you can even feel an oily surface on the mat. Be careful what jute mat you buy, because you want to have an organic mat, and once adhesives are applied to it, it's no longer organic. Our mats are woven together, and you can tell a mat that's woven together because if you pull on it, it'll change its shape a little bit. Now, the other thing about our mats is you might get a slight odor from the mat, and what that's from is there's a mineral oil that is used to keep the dust down when they weave all the fibers together to create the mat. That mineral oil is totally organic too. As a matter of fact, these mats are listed. It's an OMR product, and it's listed as an organic product, whereas a lot of other mats like this are not. So that's about our jute mats. Now, let me show you how easy it is to take a 10 by 20 mat, cut it down into a smaller mat to fit into a smaller tray. First of all, an 8 by 8 tray is tapered slightly on the sides. So the bottom of the tray, if you measure carefully, is just over 6.5 inches wide, or perhaps 6 3/4 inches wide. So if I have a mat that's 19 inches in length, actually 19.5, if I take 6.5, which is what the dimension of the tray is, 6.5 by 3 equals 19.5. Perfect. So now all I need to do is to mark this off. And I use a scissors. I don't like to use a pen because, again, I'm planting seeds in here. So I go 6.5 and I make a mark just a little bit bigger than 6.5. And here I go 6.5. And what's left is just a little bit more than 6.5. Then, on the other side, it's actually 9.5 across. And so what I like to do is I take about 2 inches off of here so that this is roughly maybe 7 inches across, a little bit stronger on this side. So I measure 7.5 on there, and I measure 7.5 on over here. And then all I do is make a mark on my mat. That's 2 inches off the edge. Now I'm ready to cut. When cutting the mat, you want to have a good scissors. It's always easier to cut with a good scissors. So I cut the lengthwise first. That leaves that strip. And now my marks over here, there's one there. And there is another one right there. And there you have it. It's that easy. Now I have my pads for my smaller tray. Now what you can do is you can take one of these pads that you use to cut, and then just use in the rest of your mats that come in the package. Just take that mat and use that as a template. You can make a cut there, and you can make a cut there. Then also you cut the 2 inches off the top. So I take the 2 inches again off the top, and now I just cut here. And cut again. And there you are. It's that simple. I've got 6 pads ready to plant in my planter for microgreens or baby greens. Now, to be efficient with the strips that I have left, I can use them too. I measure 6.5, a little bit more, 6.5, a little bit more, and I make that cut. Now I can take those strips, put them in the tray. And it's perfectly fine. You can grow microgreens in those too with the individual strips. So I actually get 4 pads out of one of the 10 by 20 mats. Another thing I get asked a lot about is, are Jute mats reusable? Technically speaking, they're not. They're designed for one-time use, and then you discard them and they go to compost, and you start off with a new jute mat. I have used them twice, but as you can see with the robust root growth that you get here, growing with these mats, which gives you healthy plants, the mats fill with roots. So I've used them twice, and it works okay, but after 2 times, they really get funky, and you can't use them again. So you possibly can get 2 times out of this, but they are designed to be used once, and then you discard them into compost, and you start with a new mat.